You guys, so this is our last day with the study guide. We're going to go over number 47. So take a moment and start highlighting the important information on number 47, please. So you should have a bag of highlighters, and if you don't, please come up and grab one. And on your final, I will give you guys a bag of highlighters as well, because you can use the highlighters on the final. So you'll have that on the final as well. So Jesse wants to plant peach trees and apple trees. He can fit at most 9 trees, so no more than 9 trees, whether it's peach or apple. Each peach tree costs $60 and each apple costs $75. If you only have $600 to spend, make a graph showing the number of each kind of trees that he can buy. And if you look at each of the question here, do you see how the top one here, this is apple, is the y-axis? And then peach is the x-axis. So think about where it's being shaded, okay? He can't have more than 9 trees. There's obviously one that is shading above 9. And that's C. Do you see how it's all the way up to 10? So it's not C. That's not the correct answer. You can't plant more than 9 trees if you don't have the space. So then you're like, okay, so is it A, B, or D? And remember, it could be any of the points inside the shaded area, okay? Like this point right here that I'm putting the dot right there in red is 3, 2. So like 3 peach tree, 2 apple trees, 3 plus 2 is still less than 9. So that works. If you're not sure about it, you can always check your answers. So I'm just gonna go to the answers for this and check to make sure that it's correct. And so I'm gonna scroll down to the bottom, and this one here is for questions number 47. And so 47, what letter is that? It's A as an apple. And that makes sense, you guys, because he can plant this one right here, which is 6 apple, 0 peaches, or it could be this one right here, which is 1 apple, 6 peaches. All of them, if you add them together, is smaller than 9, right? So A as an apple is the correct answer. And I know you're like, well, why can't it be B or D? Well, do you see how if I put a dot here and here, it's not included in the dark shaded region? I mean, there's nothing saying that he can't plant 3 apple and then 2 peach trees, right? So the one that's more correct is A as an apple. All right, let's take a look at number 50. Go ahead and highlight the important information. Ask yourself, what do you know about absolute values? What shape is it going to be in? Okay, domain is the first word, and so I'm going to highlight that. Domain and range. So domains are the X values and range are the Y values. Janaya, do you need a study guide, my dear? Because I have them right here. Do you need a study guide? And so what you have here is an absolute value. And remember, your absolute value is always in shape of a V like that. Do you see the negative right there? If it's a negative, it's just going to be upside down V like that. So it looks like I have it right here for you. Okay. And so then if I were to graph this, there's my grid. I'm going to go ahead and grab my grid. I'm going to start my point as 0, 0 right there. Okay. And then it's going to be upside down. I know that already. But then do you also see that's like a 1/2? A negative 1/2 is smaller than 0, which means my shape is going to be wider. So it's going to be like that. So it's going to be an obtuse angle. It's not going to be a right angle at 90 degrees. Okay. So the question here says, select all that applies. And you guys know that this means there's more than one right answer. Okay, so if we're to go ahead and check this, let's check the answer first to make sure. So I'm going to go over here. This is number 50. So for number 50, the correct answers are G and J. So G is this one right here, and J is right here. So let's kind of look at this and go, why are those the answers? First thing, J is domain or all real number. Remember, your domain is X value, so you're going to the left and you're going to the right. Do you see how this graph is going to continually move to the left and move to the right? So all real numbers is correct. It's essentially saying negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, because I'm going to keep going to the left, keep going to the right. It's never stopping. Now, range is the Y values. Okay, so how far up does it go here? It starts at this point, so Y is equal to 0. How far down does it go? It never stops because the arrow means it's going to continually move downward, so it's negative infinity. So your range is from 0 all the way to negative infinity. So this range for G is Y is less than or equal to 0, and that is correct. So F is not correct. H is not correct, I is not correct, K is not correct. So the only one that works is G and J. All right, 55, you guys. Go ahead and read it and then highlight the correct answers. Given the function below, what part of the domain is the function decreasing? Domain are the X values, okay? That means you're going from left over to right. So then if you look at this graph right here, it says, what part of the domain is a function decreasing? Decreasing means a negative slope, like you're going downhill, like that, okay? Well, the only part that I see on this that's decreasing is this yellow part that I'm drawing. So you want to highlight that because you're sliding downhill. And so where is that exactly? Well, it starts right here, and that's at -3, I think. And it keeps going with the arrow. So it's going to be all the way to positive infinity. So which one here, A, B, C, D, says -3 to positive infinity? X is greater than -3 is the only answer that you have. All right, number 56, you guys, we're almost there. Which of the following graph represents this? First, I'm gonna have you guys write down here is going to be f of x is equal to plus or minus a x minus h plus k. So you want to write that down so I can tell you where things are going, the direction it's going, etc. So if you just walked in here, you guys, make sure you have your study guide out. Your study guide is due Monday. It's worth 100 points. So make sure you have that. And then also your warm-up log is due today. So before you leave, I'm going to give you that QR code one more time. So for those of you guys who did not turn your warm-up log in yet, you will turn that in before you, along with everybody else that were already here. All right, so with your highlighters, first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to tell you guys this positive k right here. It's a positive k, you go up. If it's a negative k, you go down. That's the first thing that you write. Next one is the h. If it's a positive h, you go to the left. I know you're like, why left? Shouldn't it go to the right? No, it's to the left. It's opposite. If it's a negative h, you go to the right. Okay, next thing is your a, plus and minus. If it's a plus a, it's a happy face. If it's a negative a, it's a sad face, like that. Like one's going upward, the other one's going downward. Okay, so then with that said, let's take a look what we have, okay? Minus 2 means that it's going to go 2 down. Negative 3 means that it's going to go 3 to the right. So which graph looks like it's going 2 down and 3 to the right? I don't know about you, but it looks like B and D, right? So it cannot be C and it cannot be A. So now this is also facing up. So you're like, okay, is it B or is it D? One is wider, the other one is skinnier. So how do I determine that? Well, this is where this next one comes in. So next one that you want to do is the A right here. So if the A is smaller than 1, it is going to be a fatter or wider shape. If A is bigger than 1, it's going to be a skinnier or condensed shape. So look at your A. Your A is 1/2. Is that bigger than 1 or is that smaller than 1? I don't know. 1/2 is 0.5, so it's smaller than 1. So guess what? It's going to be wider. So your correct answer is D as in dog. All right, 57. Go ahead and read 57. I know there's a lot of words in there, but it's actually not that difficult. So read it, highlight the important parts. And we'll go over one more after this. And then, you guys are pretty close to 61. So we're pretty much done. Okay, so which of the following describes this graph? Okay, so this graph is 3 down. Positive 2 is 2 to the left. Negative means that it's going to be upside down. Although when I say upside down, they will say reflect over x-axis. It basically means the same thing. It's just a fancier way of saying it's flipped over the x-axis. And do you see that 4 right there? That 4 is bigger than 0. So what does that mean? That means your graph is going to be a little bit skinnier, or you can say that it's condensed, squished together. So which one is going to say that? Or maybe not condensed, but compressed. That's probably a better word. Compressed. First thing that you should notice is that when it says reflected over the y-axis, that's wrong. So it's not A and it's not B, because it's reflected over the x-axis. And why is that? Because if this is the x-axis right there, if this is your happy face, if I flip it over, guess what? Now it's a sad face. So x-axis, not y. So it could be C or D. Then it says 3 units to the left. Well, 2 units to the left. Well, didn't we say it's 2 units to the left? So it's not D, it's C. So you're just looking at these tiny little subtle hints of what the question's giving you, essentially. All right, let's go over one more, you guys. Number 58, and then we'll stop right there. It says identify the vertex and the axis of symmetry for this function. Vertex is the first one, is h, k. Axis of symmetry is x equals h. So you want to copy that part down first. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to write down f of x is equal to plus or minus a x plus h plus k, or x minus h plus k. Just kidding. Okay. And essentially what you're going to do is you're going to pretty much like, combine or compare what this means. Okay, so your vertex is h, k. Your h is going to be the opposite of a positive 3, which is a -3, and your k is a -6. So immediately I know my answer is going to be G. But then remember, more than one answer is correct. As a select, all that applies. Okay, so that's one of the answers. Another one of the answers is your axis of symmetry is h. And didn't we say h is -3? So I is an answer as well. And I think that is it, just G and I. And if you're not sure about that, you guys, you can always go to your answer, and this is number 58. Yep, 58, G and I. That's correct. All right, I'm gonna stop here. I know you guys still have number 60, 59, and then 61. So you have like 3 more questions. You guys work on those over the weekend. And if you need the answers in the very back of your study guides. And we gone over all the other questions on the study guide. So I have a pretty good feeling if you study the study guide and you go over your 2 white packets this weekend, you should be fine. Your exit ticket is the following. I gave you guys this paper right here. You need to fill this part out. This is your study plan and your priority to study this weekend for the final. Does anybody need one still? Anybody need one? You want to raise your hand? Give me one. Here we go. Anybody else need one? Raise your hand. Does everybody else have one here? Fill this part out. That is your priority. Sorry. Awesome. Anybody else need one over here? That is your reflection activity for this week. Here you go. Make sure you fill that part out. It asks you, it says your 3 priorities. Then it says get it done. So list of things to get it done. What are you grateful for? And then figure out what it is you need to do by the hour. So make sure you guys fill that part out. And when you guys are done, make sure you guys give me your warm-up. For those of you guys who were coming in late today, this is a QR code you need to turn in your warm-up. It's worth 300 points. Make sure you guys use that QR code right now. So if you are not here for the warm-up at the beginning of class, make sure you submit that because that is worth 300 points, you guys. It's your warm-up for the last 10 or 9 weeks, I should say. So fill out your exit ticket and make sure you guys do your That's your plan for this weekend. Yeah, make sure you study for the final. Bye, ladies. Have a great weekend.